Hey everybody, what's going on? And welcome to Guns N' Roses Central. And we've got a bunch of Guns N' Roses news for today, so let's talk about what's going on. This news story comes to us courtesy of Negative White, which is a Swiss online magazine. So with Guns N' Roses touring Europe, there's of course a lot of publications who are attending the concerts, taking photos, publishing them to their websites or magazines. And the actual contract that Guns N' Roses gets these companies to sign actually leaked online. So it leaked online via Swiss online magazine called Negative White. They actually boycotted the Zurich concert that Guns did last week, and they actually uploaded the contract to their website. So let's take a look at what the contract actually asks for. So the contract states that photographers are only allowed to publish 6 pictures in their outlet in minimum web size and can never be republished again. The photographer then gives up their right to the pictures, which belong to Guns N' Roses after that. And the protocols state that all media will shoot from the secondary barricade, front of the house, no pit, and that at no time should the media be roaming through the stadium without an escort. Now, this is nothing new, really. If you guys remember, even back during the Use Your Illusion days, Guns had some pretty strict contracts for how they treated photographers. Even for interviews, Guns had a pretty strict contract that upset a lot of journalists, especially Bob Guccione of Spin, where basically Guns would have the final say on everything. They'd own all the pictures, and I think they would also probably see all the questions ahead of time as well. And you remember last year there was a story that Axl had sent out several DMCA notices via Web Sheriff, basically trying to take down the Fat Axl Rose meme off the internet. And apparently if you Google it, it's still available, so apparently nothing has really happened with that action. So here's a clip from the Guns N' Roses documentary Photographic History, where they talk about the limitations they put around journalists who attend Guns N' Roses concerts.
Well, Guns N' Roses, I think, we're going to be the most awkward band to photograph, full stop. I mean, I did Milton Keynes, I've been in Rock in Rio. Most big bands, Madonna, Michael Jackson, you get 3 numbers, and you're normally in the pit. Guns N' Roses have this, we're going to put you at the back of the stadium.
Can you tell us why that sort of scheme is ever put into operation, that limited amount of time for other photographers? What is it supposed to create?
Because we don't like any of them. All the other photographers were just, they're just money hungry, or they're trying to fill their quota or whatever, and it just makes you feel uncomfortable. And so, after 15 minutes, you're just like, fuck off, and they sell their pictures to all kinds of different publications, and we've been misrepresented in the press and by the media so many times, so at this point, we don't care whether you seem to be a nice guy or not. We just don't trust anybody.
So we give them one song, the first song, and they shoot from the mixing desk, which, although they all complain about that, at the end of the day they get better shots. And what it is, when I first started working with Guns N' Roses, they had no other photographers apart from Robert. And I said the problem is that people are using old shots of the band because they're not getting access to the pictures. So they were using live shots with band members that weren't even around anymore. So we decided just for the daily newspapers that Robert can't service, we'd use the mixing desk as a good place for them to shoot from. And they get one song.
One number, you're not going to get the atmosphere. Really bad pictures actually come out of this, because there's no way, if you're given access to a band like that for one number, you're so scared that your competitions are going to get a better picture that you're actually doing the band an injustice, because the pictures are going to be grainy. You're shot from, the back of the stage. But it's not the sort of band, the crowd aren't user-friendly when you've got a photographer standing in the pit, or not in the pit, but sort of in the crowd, sort of hustling away trying to do pictures. And a couple of my friends got bopped on the end of the nose, so I do my one number and I leave.
And in other Guns N' Roses news, we had posted a story on GNR Central a couple months back that Duff was selling one of his homes. It was actually a Spanish villa for almost $4 million. So according to the Los Angeles Times, Duff McKagan actually sold this home. So this home is located in the Sherman Oaks neighborhood of Los Angeles. It sold for $3.785 million. It originally went on the market back in late April for $3.85 million. And it closed last week $65,000 shy of the asking price. So Duff bought the property in 2005 for $2.975 million. It includes a 5-bedroom, roughly 4,200 square foot main house built in the 1930s, as well as a former stable building as well, which has been turned into a gym, and also comes with a 1-bedroom guest house. And Duff still reportedly owns a waterfront house in Seattle that he purchased in 1993 for $1.4 million. That property features a sports court, a large pool, and a boat deck. And in other Guns N' Roses news, we had some Richard Fortus news. So if you guys remember last week, he did an interview where he talked about the possibility of us seeing some new Guns N' Roses music. And even though he said they're not in the studio, they're recording ideas here and there, probably during sound checks, kind of like what they did back in the early 90s. He said they definitely intend to do something with it, and that basically they'd be stupid not to release an album someday. But you know, a lot of the websites who reported this basically said Guns N' Roses planning new album, planning new ideas, and of course now everybody thinks they're going to be releasing a new album. I don't think we're going to see a new Guns album for at least a couple of years, let alone, you know, maybe even one song. But in the same interview, he talked about what he does on his time off on tour. Like, he said that it's pretty easy for him and a couple of other people in the band to go out and just enjoy the sights and sounds and stuff. Whereas, you know, for guys like Slash and Axl, it's a little more difficult because they're more recognizable. But he said even Duff is like, he can just throw on a hat, and you know, most people don't bother him or even know who he is. And he also praised the background vocals for both Dizzy Reed and Melissa Reese as well during live shows. He said, really, the majority of vocals live are Dizzy and Duff. I used to sing a lot more, but most of the vocals are covered by those two guys, the backups, and they're really strong singers, Melissa as well. And then we've also got a little piece of Howard Stern news. So I was listening to a show earlier this week, or it might have been from last week. Howard was talking about how he really liked the cover version that Guns N' Roses did to honor Chris Cornell. So he liked their version of Black Hole Sun. So he played a bit of it on his show, but it was from a really bad recording from someone's cell phone. So he did say that Axl Rose still has it, even at his age, and that he liked their cover version of the song. And now let's look at some of the social media posts that the Guns N' Roses members have been posting. So Melissa posted a really cool video of the show in Zurich. It was basically a fisheye lens shot of what it looks like from her perspective on stage. And then while the band was in Madrid, they were taking in some tapas as well. I think this was with her and the band's photographer, Kat Benzova. And then the band was actually in Imola, Italy, playing their show in Bologna. It was there was a lot of photos of Axl taking pictures with fans and stuff. I guess they must have found out where the band was staying, and I saw a couple like crowds of people around Axl and Slash. So this is one of the photos, and then this is a photo in Zurich, Switzerland, of Axl posing with a fan, obviously doing the AC/DC horns. And then we've also got a social media post of Duff's wife and Duff. And they're just both basically thanking Dolce & Gabbana for a charity event they're going to. So they're going to be attending the Life Ball, which brings awareness to HIV and AIDS and celebrates life. And then finally, we've got a post of Slash and his girlfriend Megan. This is from Zurich, Switzerland. And then I think the final thing I just want to show you guys are just some cool photos from the past week of Guns N' Roses shows, from Italy, from Switzerland, and a couple other shows they did as well. So that does it for today's video, guys. Thanks for watching. As always, hit the subscribe button if you love Guns N' Roses as much as I do. And please be sure to follow me on social media. The links to my Facebook and Twitter are down below in the description box. And hit the like button if you enjoyed the contents of the video. Take care.